Hey people, welcome to another episode of Redneck Gardening. I got my reading glasses on for this one. This is a mandarin that I planted here a couple years ago. It was a $50 tree, and they they developed in southern Louisiana. I think the sweetest orange is coming from there, and it's got a bunch of new growth coming on it, and it's got some suckers coming on it down below. They develop the genetics in these, and they develop them to be a short bush with a lot of sweet fruit on it. And so while they're pinpointing all that, they don't study the root system. They're just trying to get the fruit right. And so that's why you'll see a graft on these where there's two different trees. This is their developed orange up here, and this is a root stock they put it on. And it's probably a lime or a lemon or something like that. And so anytime you see some shoots coming off below that, these are called suckers, and you're probably going to want to rub them off. This one here is coming down below. And instead of rubbing them off, the reason you want to rub them off is because this sucker has the same genetics as this root stock. And so it'll suck all the energy and probably kill the rest of the plant if you let it grow on. But these oranges are fairly easy to take cuttings, and if you ever want to grow one of these, it's really not going to do anything unless you have it grafted on some root stock. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut these off of here, everything that's below this line, and I'm going to hit that with a razor blade. And this one here is growing right at the graft, so it's a lemon. And I'm going to try to root these. And if I can get these to root, I'll plant them around the yard where I want an orange tree. And then later on, when they get about an inch, I could graft an orange on them. I've got this seed tray here, and I'm just going to poke some holes in there. I'm trying to ream them out big enough so I don't knock the rooting hormone off when I poke those in. So I can't hold the camera when I do this, but I'm going to cut these down a little bit at an angle. And then I'm going to dip them in this rooting powder. And I'm going to poke them in these holes without knocking the powder off. And it's just a hormone. And I'm not going to use gloves because I'm old and don't plan on having no more children. But this is something you don't want to get lost in the environment. Don't overuse it. Don't sprinkle it. Just dip it right in there. If you can see, I just cut up off that knuckle a little bit and cut it at an angle. And I'm going to dip that in this powder and just drop it in this hole here. And this big one here, you can see it's starting to grow spikes like a lemon. And it's getting a little harder here. And I might even cut it in two and cut this harder bottom off and cut these lower leaves off and just leave these couple on top here. And like this, you see where I cut this leaf off here and cut it a little shorter. And I'm going to dip it all the way up to that, and maybe roots will start coming out where this leaf was coming out. And this top, I'm real sure it's tender. And I went ahead and cut back that first leaf. And I'm going to dip all that, and roots have possibly come out where that first leaf was coming. I'm just going to dip that down in that powder below where I cut that leaf. And drop that one off here in this center hole. Now I'll just cover these up, and I'll water it real good. And I'll put it in the porch in a shady spot, and see which ones come to a month from now. And I'll repot them in a bigger pot and wait for them to get big enough. Then I'll take some grafts off the orange part of the tree and add to them next year or so. But the main thing to know about this video, whether you want to try to graft some more oranges or not, always remove those suckers from below the graft line, or they'll take over the plant and your oranges will die and you end up with a lemon tree. I'm going to saturate that good. Make sure all the soil works down around. And I'm going to put that off in the shade. And I'm going to take this little pair of scissors here, and I'm gonna clip. The idea is to take a third off the top anytime you're doing this. And so I'm going to make them all look like this one that I had cut down. And I'm just going to trim, if it's got 2 leaves, I'm going to take one off the top. If it's got 3, I'm going to take one. And anytime you're taking cuttings or trying to root something, it's a good idea to remove the fruit in a third of the plant. You might even stab in a little hole and stick that little piece I cut off in there, and good chance it takes root too. And the idea is I just have to get one of these to take, then I'll have a lemon tree that I can get many cuttings off of. So nobody likes that hormone powder. I must have bought that 25 years ago and still using that same can. But there's other ways to do it. And there's some plants that they, like aloe vera, you break a leaf off and stick it in and it grows. And you can use that for a rooting hormone. And there's some other plants, and aspirin helps. But some things don't need it at all. Like this is just a piece of tomato that I clipped off and poked in there last week. Tomatoes and marijuana is real good about that. You could just take marijuana and a plant and cut it up and stab them all in some good soil, and they'll all take. No need for a hormone. But they developed these, and they're trying to get something that'll grow in a little more northern climate. Most just citruses, they can't stand a freeze. And they're doing pretty good. It's just that we had the biggest snow I've ever seen here this year. And that's why everything I had to cut it back. There was nothing left. So this is all new to this year. And this is my castor over here standing guard. It's all poison. It'll kill somebody. The whole thing's poison. But that's where castor oil, one of the oldest medicines, comes from. Comes out of the seed. And this is the seed pods on this parrot gladiola. They're green. They're drying up. And when they get dry, I'll put them in a bag and send some out. And this is another rainwater collection I set up on the end of this gutter here. And it screens out through here, so I just get the water, no trash. So I don't have a problem getting it out of my tap down here. I'll probably set it up on some more blocks so I can just hook a hose up to it and carry it around the yard later. Try not to use my pump until a really drought situation. I run my well dry watering plants. And that's it for this episode of Redneck Gardening. Good day.